guys, welcome to The Stack. I'm Alex.
I'm Justin.
I'm Pete.
And we've got a bunch of random junk for you guys today.
Yeah, random junk.
Insulting.
We are talking about Monster Volume 1 through 3, Air Force, and Bizzare New World. So let's get right into it.
It's not
talking
junk.
about Monster 1 through 3, which is a manga series. Thank you. I totally blanked. Manga series from Viz. There's actually 18 volumes. We only are talking about the first 3. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that Monster is hands down the best manga series since Death Note.
I think it's better than Death Note.
Ooh.
I will one-up you.
Yeah, this is the first manga series that I've read that I actually walked away with enjoying it and wanting more.
Well, what did you like about it specifically as opposed to
It wasn't. What always kind of turned me off about manga is the old woo wee and the crying and the big eyes.
Racist.
I am not racist. But this does an amazing job of like building a story, kind of like setting you up, and then next thing you know, you're in the middle of like a high tension situation. You're like, oh my god, and you're just tearing through it.
Yeah, it's a very slow burn, which is great.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And they get into some great specifics, and the little vignettes they do as the series goes on. I'm addicted to it. I'm up to issue 5.
We're not really saying anything about it because it's very hard to say anything about it without spoiling what goes on. It really takes a long time to get going, but it's completely worth it. It's a very slow thriller, and like Death Note, it deals with the idea of what is good and what is evil, essentially. What drives a person to kill more than anything.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds very heady, but it's a riveting thriller from front to back.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I was on volume 2, and I was like, Alex, when does this pick up? And you were like, wait for it. And then, in the middle of 3, I was just like, this is great.
Yeah, it's great. Definitely highly recommend picking up the whole series. Let's move on, talk about Air Force. Now, to give you a little background about this, this is from Bodog, B-O-D-O-J.
It's
Is it?
Which, as you may know, they manage poker players, musical artists, and mixed martial artists, among other things.
Natural progression.
Here's the thing. This book basically posits that Bodog is a front for an international task force taking down people who are trying to harvest bears for their bile.
This is a documentary.
I am totally not kidding about
It's a documentary.
This. Now, and not only that, but Calvin Ayre, who owns Bodog, is the tough as now leader of this force, and all of the musical artists and poker players are actually
real people.
What?
Are real people.
Yes, the actual real people in real life are also covert thieves and operatives of this Air Force trying to take down the bear bile market.
I feel like this is something me and my friends would have done in high school. We're like, okay, you can fly, and I'm like awesome at fighting, and you're like great with I-beams. So let's get in a big adventure.
But that being said, I read it, I didn't like it, but then I read the last page, and it says all proceeds go, to fight against, bear bile.
Harvesting.
Yeah, apparently they
What an
abuse
awful
bears.
job that
Yeah,
would
no, which is absolutely, it's terrible. And
Yeah,
it's
so
very
then I
admirable
felt like
that
crap for hating the comic. But at the same time, it's really over the top, and every 2 sentences it mentions Bodog.
Here's the problem with something like this. If you're going to do something for charity, I'm not saying it has to be great. It just doesn't have to be derivative crap.
But why would they make it about themselves? Is what confuses me.
I don't know.
Like, if it's a charity,
such a vanity project, which is unbelievable. And they put so much money behind this. I don't know, for those of you who are at
there's
New York
tons of
Comic-Con,
marketing. I saw posters
all over the place, all over New York Comic-Con.
Yeah.
There's still posters up. They're doing tons of advertising.
It's really weird.
Totally support this cause. Go give a donation.
But also, if you like radical poker, check out Bodog Online Poker.
Just you don't need whatever money you're going to spend on this book. Just donate it directly to fighting bear bile harvesting, I guess. Let's move on and talk about Bizzare New World, which is an original series. This series is great.
Fantastic.
Really excellent. The idea is, what if you woke up one morning and found out you could fly? Not only that, but what if you found out you could fly and you were in the real world? What would you do?
And that sounds simple that way, and a lot of other books are kind of doing that kind of thing, like Kick-Ass and whatnot. But this is really well done. It's so simple, and it's
like
it's
Monster.
dreamlike.
It's a slow burn. It really takes its time, and really you get behind the character and really get to know, you know,
And
how
it's-
real it is.
it's
This
totally-
is one of the most original
Yeah.
looks at superheroes I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's very unique, and that's what's so great about it. And you really feel for the main character, and there are some great twists and turns as the series goes on.
I think the thing that's very nice about this, and we're being very careful not to spoil, because there's some big
Yeah.
reveals at the beginning, at the end of the first series. This is actually sort of a trilogy. There's one series, a graphic novel, and a third graphic novel is coming out either the end of this year or the beginning of next year. And it's great because it focuses on one guy. I think that's the coolest thing about it. It brings it down to a very human, very specific level. So it's not dealing with, you know, something like New Universal, which I also think was very good. That's dealing with things on a global scale with a large cast, Heroes style or Lost style. This is focusing on one guy and his reaction to what's going on, and I think it's great.
And they really flesh out kind of a little bit of science behind it, and he's so sweet. It's such an
Yes.
endearing
It's
character.
sweet-natured and it's nice, and the art is great. It really takes its time, and it really feels the pauses, which I think is the coolest part.
Yes, it's awesome.
Yeah,
definitely pick it up.
We love this series, and we actually loved it so much that we want to share it with you guys. We have a couple of packs of the complete series so far that we're going to give away to you guys, and we are going to tell you how you can win them after the break.
Ooh, got him on the hook.
Yeah,
Hooked
so
him.
stay tuned.
I know, it's. Oh, God. Oh, sorry, man. Arm steak. Beat it. There's a place for us.
Somewhere.
Your love for comics doesn't have to be a secret. Go to pulpsecret.com for reviews and commentary on today's top comics.
I'm still flying. I'm still flying. I'm still flying.
Flying,
I'm still
everybody.
flying. I'm still flying. I'm still flying. I'm still flying.
Well, guys,
I'm like
that
Peter Pan.
That was
And
pretty
Captain Hook.
lame.
Yeah.
I bet our viewers could do a better job.
Wow.
Hacha.
Nice. If you guys want to win the complete series of Bizzare New World so far, and we sadly only have 2 of them right now, so only 2 of you
Act
can
fast.
win, but upload a video of you flying and doing a better job than we just did.
Don't jump off anything high, though.
Yeah, please don't hurt yourself.
Don't do that.
Die for us.
Yeah.
No, whoa, what?
You
Don't
always
jump.
say that.
That's so
I do
weird.
always. I strongly suggest it. I never outright say it. But send us your videos, and 2 of you will win the complete run of Bizzare New World. Now let's get into our panel discussion.
Yes.
Very exciting. All right.
Yes.
This is kind of more related to Air Force and Monster, I think. But
We'll see.
violence in comics. We're kind of sort of starting to touch a little bit in this on Wednesday's show.
Indeed.
But how much violence is too much? That's my question for you guys.
Oh, wow.
Well, I see.
And I want to know.
here's the thing.
I'm not going to contribute. I just want to know what you guys
Okay, yeah.
Turn the
no,
camera
but
on.
I feel like violence is one thing, and making things dark and maybe creepy and walking that kind of line is another
dark
thing.
path.
Whereas violence doesn't bother me as much as like when things cross the line as far as, you know, like,
Nudity.
Nudity, sex.
well, or making things too dark and too creepy.
You're pretty much in line with most of America there, I think. They did a poll recently that showed people were more bothered by a gay kiss on screen than they were by somebody getting their head chopped off.
Well, I don't mind a gay kiss. That's fine.
Really?
No, I'm not saying you do.
Well,
I'm
let's
just
do
saying in
this.
general, people are much more uncomfortable with sexuality than they are with violence, which means you can push violence much farther.
I don't
think
have
that's
a
it. I
problem
feel-
with sexuality. I think it's one of those things where...
Here's what I think. I think the reason we bring this up in this show is I feel like something like Air Force, especially when they're dealing with something that is a social issue, it's a lot of unnecessary stuff blowing up and people getting killed and ripped apart. As opposed to something like Monster, on the other hand, it really takes its time. The entire series is about what is the cost of a human life.
And like a good thriller isn't all full of blood and violence. It's like a slow burn that's punctuated by something that shocks you and it draws you more into the story. Like a story like Bizzare New World, there's hardly any violence and it's great.
Yeah.
And a story that uses violence well is great, like Fishtown. We were talking about the
that's great.
online comic.
Yep.
But when it's used like, not to call you out, but like Punisher, where it's gratuitous and it's like it all becomes desensitized.
Yeah, but sometimes that's fun when you can pick up a comic and shut off your brain and enjoy like the Hulk.
I'm gonna agree with you. You know, it's again, I think it's how it's written and how it's done. Something I've talked about the Terror Inc. series with you guys a lot.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Totally over the. Well,
It
this
was
is
good.
why did you know. That was over-the-top violence. That was people getting ripped in half, having their heads ripped off. I feel like that's such exaggerated, cartoony violence on purpose that the whole idea is to go way, way over the top with it. Think of the most ridiculous things you can do. That almost makes me fine with it in a certain way, as opposed to something where the explosions and the limbs getting chopped off are supposed to be cool.
Yeah, you need to honor it. If you're going to use it, it's not like, yeah, blow up, cool, and it all happens at once. Then you're like, well, what's the point then? Where's the story? When, as I said, with a punctuated violence.
I definitely think that there has to be some kind of story behind the violence. There's got to be, it's got to be worth it. It's got to be a nice payoff. But I just feel that, like, violence itself, I don't have a problem with. If a comic goes violent, hey, that's fine. Sometimes it's very enjoyable and very fun to get behind.
It's pleasurable.
Yeah.
Deeply, deeply pleasurable.
Yes.
You want to go shoot a man just to watch him die, guys? After this?
Again?
Oh, turn the camera on. Is the camera on?
No,
All right.
but I feel like that there has to, there has to be a reason. That's why I didn't like Terror Inc. Just because they're like, this is ridiculous. This is so over the
I
top.
guess that's where we defer. Is that I am fine with the over-the-top cartoony violence while you are not, which is really interesting.
Yeah, and plus you're also, that's
Awesome.
why
I'm also awesome.
Triple X Zombies is okay in your world too, because you're all right with that over the top. And I'm
Hey,
Well, and
it's
that's-
okay with me.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? How much violence is too much violence? How much violence is not enough?
Give
Let
us
know.
two paragraphs, about 100-word response.
And we will grade you. Also, if you have a question, you can write into tips@pulpsecret.com. You can also upload your video responses on YouTube or comment right here below the video. And if you're ever in New York City, come visit us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. at our live show, Comic Book Club. You can find all the details on pulpsecret.com. We will see you guys next time.
All right, guys, let's go.
oh boy, no.
Is it working?
I like you say
I
if
should've
you're
had
ever
to. I kind of have
if
to
you're
there,
ever in New York City, why don't you come and visit?
Is it
come,
working?
make a vacation. Come to
Come
New
on
York
down.
City.
We'll serve you lemonade and murder you just to see you die.
Yeah, violence.
Oh, man, I can't fly anymore. Because you guys are so dark.
And
no, we're
that's our
violent.
week.
Think of
We
happy.
brought
We're
everything
not
together.
dark.